chant, an intonation of confidence. I think it was Psalm 27. So the psalmist here in today's daily Psalm, Psalm 10, concludes with confidence. Confidence in the victory of good over evil, being certain that God's justice will prevail. Just getting a basic overview right here to today's daily psalm, as well as a noting to the connection of Psalm 9 and 10, and also the ancient numbering that is attested to by the, we say the ancient and the better Hebrew manuscripts, as well as the ancient Septuagint, or the Koine, the common Greek, the LXX, and also by the Ethiopic, Metzhaf Kedus, the Ge'ez, and also the Royal Amharic, the Metzhaf Kedus, the Book of the Seven Seals of the Conquering Line, Tribe of Judah, Root of David, of Kadmawi, Haile Selassie. So make I nine, ride up.
Are ye not as children of the Ethiopians unto me, O children of Israel, O children of Israel, O children of Israel? Are ye not as children of the Ethiopians? Are ye not as children of the children of the Ethiopians? Are ye not as children of the Ethiopians unto me, O children of Israel, saith the Lord?
Legashun, Agarashun, Legashun, Zengashwe, Ethiopia menage, But we want the next verse with Amharic. But we want the next verse with Amharic.
Bring forth the Bible. Bring forth the Bible. Bring forth the Bible. Bring forth the Bible. Bring forth the Bible.
So right here, coming forward, we're going to join Psalm 9 and 10 in the Royal Amharic, but go through verse by verse. Psalm 9 from the King of Kings Bible, the Authorized Revised Amharic Bible, the Book of the Seven Seals. We also have the Parallel Bible available. One can get a copy of that with the Amharic and the KJV side by side, and get into the study. So here. Let's ride.
So people still searching for this truth here, which this reggae music, bring Christ to them, and the only purpose it serves is to tell the people about Rastafari.
Psalm 9 and 10, Psalm 9 against the nations, and Psalm 10 against the enemies within the body of Jah people. Here's Psalm 9 and 10.
መዝሙር 9 ለመዘምራን አለቃ በሙትላቤን የዳዊት መዝሙር። አቤቱ በልቤ ሁሉ አመሰግንሃለሁ፣ ታምራትህንም ሁሉ እነግራለሁ። ባንተ ደስ ይለኛል፣ ሐሴትንም አደርጋለሁ። ልዑል ሆይ ለስምህ እዘምራለሁ። ጠላቶቼ ወደ ኋላ በተመለሱ ጊዜ ይሰናከላሉ፣ ከፊትህም ይጠፋሉ። ፍርዴንና በቀሌን አድርገህልኛልና ጽድቅን እየፈረድክ በዙፋንህ ላይ ተቀመጥ። አሕዛብን ገሰጽ፣ ዝንጎችን አጠፋ፣ ስማቸውንም ለዘላለም ደመሰስ። ጠላቶች በጦር ለዘላለም ጠፉ፣ ከተሞቻቸውንም አፈረሱ፣ ዝክራቸውም በአንድነት ጠፋ። እግዚአብሔር ግን ለዘላለም ይኖራል፣ ዙፋኑንም ለመፍረድ አዘጋጀ። እርሱም ዓለምን በጽድቅ ይፈርዳታል፣ አሕዛብንም በቅንነት ይዳኛቸው። እግዚአብሔርም ለድሆች መጠጊያ ሆናቸው፣ እርሱም በመከራቸው ጊዜ ረዳታቸው ነው። ስምህን የሚያውቁ ሁሉ ባንተ ይታመናሉ። አቤቱ የሚሹህን አትተዋቸውምና በጽዮን ለሚኖር ለእግዚአብሔር ዘምሩ። በአሕዛብም መካከል አደራረጉን ንገሩ። ደማቸውን የሚመራመር እርሱ አስቧልና የድሆችንም ጩኸት አልረሳምና። አቤቱ እዘንልኝ፣ ጠላቶቼም የሚያመጡብኝን መከራ እይ። ከሞት ደጆች ከፍ ከፍ የምታደርገኝ ምስጋናውን ሁሉ እናገር ዘንድ በጽዮን ልጆች በደጆቿ በማዳንህ ደስ ይለኛል። አሕዛብ በሰሩት ጉድጓድ ወደቁ፣ በዚያችም በሸሸጓት ወጥመድ እግራቸው ተጠመደ። እግዚአብሔር ፍርድን በማድረግ የታወቀ ነው፣ ኃጢአተኛውም በእጁ ሥራ ተጠመደ። ኃጢአተኞች ወደ ሲኦል ይመለሳሉ፣ እግዚአብሔርን የሚረሱ አሕዛብም ሁሉ ድሃ ለዘላለም አይራሳም፣ የችግረኞችም ተስፋቸው ለዘላለም አይጠፋም። አቤቱ ተነስ፣ ሰውም አይበርታ፣ አሕዛብ በፍርድ ይፈረድባቸው። አቤቱ ፍርሃትን በላያቸው ጫንባቸው፣ አሕዛብ ሰዎች ሁሉ ይወቁ። በቅንፍ መዝሙር 10 በዕብራይስጥ። አቤቱ ለምን ርቀህ ቆምህ? በመከራም ጊዜ ለምን ትሰወራለህ? በኃጢአተኛ ትዕቢት ድሃ ይናደዳል፣ ባሰቡት ተንኰላቸው ተጠመዱ። ኃጢአተኛ በነፍሱ ፈቃድ ይወደሳልና አመፀኛም ይባርካል። ኃጢአተኛ እግዚአብሔርን አበሳጨው፣ እንደ ቁጣውም ብዛት አይመራመረውም። በእርሱ ፊት እግዚአብሔር የለም። መንገዱ ሁሉ የረከሰ ነው፣ ፍርድህም በፊቱ የፈረሰ ነው። ጠላቶችንም ሁሉ ይገዛቸዋል። በልቡ ይላል ለልጅ ልጅ አልታወክም፣ ክፉም አያገኘኝም። አፉ መርገምንና ሽንገላን ተንኰልን የተሞላ ነው። ከምላሱ በታች ጉዳትና መከራ ነው። በመንደሮች መሸመቂያ ይቀመጣል፣ ንጹሐንን በስውር ይገድል ዘንድ ዓይኖቹም ወደ ድሃ ይመለከታል። እንደ አንበሳ በችፍግ ዱር በስውር ይሸምቃል። ድሃውን ለመንጠቅ ያደርጋል፣ ድሃውን ይነጥቀዋል፣ ባሽክላውም ይስበዋል። ድሃ ይዋረዳል፣ ይጎብጣል፣ በኃያላኑም እጅ ይወድቃል። በልቡም ይላል እግዚአብሔር ረስቶኛል፣ ፈጽሞም እንዳያየኝ ፊቱ ሰወረ። አቤቱ አምላክ ሆይ ተነስ፣ እጅህም ከፍ ከፍ ትበል። ድሆችን አትርሳ። ኃጢአተኛ ስለምን እግዚአብሔርን አስቆጣው? በልቡ አይመራመረኝም ይላልና። አየኸው፣ አንተ ክፋትንና ቁጣን ትመለከታለህና በእጅህ ፍዳውን ለመስጠት ድሃ ራሱን ላንተ ይተዋል። ለድሃ አደግም ረዳቱ አንተ ነህ። የኃጢአተኛንና የክፉን ክንድ ስበር፣ የኃጢአቱንም ብድራት ክፈል፣ ሌላ እስከማይገኝ ድረስ። እግዚአብሔር ለዘላለም ይነግሣል፣ አሕዛብ ከምድሩ ይጠፋሉ። እግዚአብሔር የድሆችን ምኞት ሰማ፣ ጆሮውም የልባቸውን ሐሳብ አደመጠ። ፍርዱ ለድሃ አደግና ለችግረኛ ይደረግ ዘንድ ሰዎች በምድር ላይ አፋቸውን ከፍ ከፍ ማድረግ እንዳይደግሙ።
Stammering lips and another tongue, for with stammering lips and another tongue, for with stammering lips and stammering lips and stammering lips, for with stammering lips and another tongue, to this speak. Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breasts. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. For with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people. to whom he said, This is the rest wherewith ye may cause the weary to rest, and this is the refreshing.
Teach me, teacher. Teach high and I am a teacher. Teach me.
Bring forth the Bible. 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 Bring forth the Bible.
Shalom to Enayist Eling. Today's daily psalm, according to the royal order of the Ethiopian Hebrews, and here after the order of Melchizedek, Malachiah Tzedek. Shalom to Enayist Eling. Today's daily psalm, according to the royal order of the Ethiopian Hebrews, and here after the order of Melchizedek, Malachiah Tzedek, the righteous king. Kadamawi, Haile Selassie, Hakadosh, Baruch Hashem, bless the Holy One, blessed be He, blessed be the name. Yes, bless. Yes. So here we have today's daily song. And just a couple of highlights right here. It's a song of thanksgiving. A song of thanksgiving. Here in the Sefer Tehillim is known as the Tate. The Tate, according to the Hebrew Aleph Beit, is the Tate, is the ninth. So here the ninth Psalm IX, a song of thanksgiving. In some of the Hebrew manuscripts and in the ancient, we could say the Greek, the LXX, and the Latin versions, and also in the Metzhaf Kedus of Negusa Negeza, Ethiopia, Kadamawi, Haile Selassie, in the Book of the Seven Seals, as we compare and contrast the HSV, Haile Selassie version, side by side with the KJV, these two psalms are joined, and also to share the native speaker and reader, Abraham Chebuda, also bringing forward Psalm 9, he also attaches Psalm 10, because in some of the Hebrew manuscripts, and the ancient manuscripts from the ancient Greek and the Latin versions, IX, Psalm 9, and X, Psalm 10, are joined into one and joined as one Mizmor. So here we have Mizmor Tate, here we have Mezmor Zet'en, but also Mezmor Aser, 10 is connected in the ancient. Now, the same current of thought, it runs through both. Dependence upon Ha-Elohim, the true good, the true God, Exyavihar, the sustainer of the good, the generous, open-handed Father, for escape from evil machinations, mechanizations and machination, the evil machines. Also, a trace of an alphabetical acrostic in the Aleph Beit in the Psalms is discernible in the verses of the two Psalms, although several letters are omitted. Now, there's a resemblance in the phraseology of the two Psalms, Psalm 9 and Psalm 10, likewise is noticeable. Nevertheless, modern opinion point of view is, quote, it seems better to regard Psalm 10 as a later mezmor, chant, intonation, vocal praise composed as an appendix, or as a continuation of the earlier under different conditions, rather than as part of a mezmor or psalm from which from the beginning was one whole. So instead of looking at it that it was from the beginning as one whole psalm, some better perspective of it, which some of us might share and agree, is that Psalm 10 was composed later, as we just brought forward. Now, this is an agreement with the Judaic tradition, and we also see, according to the royal order of Ethiopian Hebrews, our Judeo-Christian tradition and groundation in the Metzhaf Kedus, Book of the Seven Seals of His Majesty, that yes, this is an agreement with the Judaic, Jewish, and the Lion of the tribe of Judah tradition, which divides the compositions into two separate psalms, but also links in the Metzhaf Kedus, the Mezmor Dawid, links that these psalms are connected. Here, we have a hymn in Mizmor 8, Psalm 9, Mezmor Zet'en. We have a hymn of praise for victory over national enemies. And the historical background may be that which is narrated in 2 Samuel. In 2 Samuel, VIII, 2 Samuel chapter 8, to get the historical context to this Psalm of David, Mizmor Dawid. Now, also very interesting, we have here is the superscription. The superscription that we have in today's daily psalm. Just to focus here, on a couple of these basic groundations, we have the superscription, La Menatzayach al Mut Labain, the Mizmor Dawid, for the leader, the chief musician, upon Mut Labain, al Mut Labain, al Mut Labain, death to the son, death of the son. This is a superscription of today's daily psalm, Psalm 9, which is also themed as a psalm of praise, a psalm of praise. Now, the Schofield The Schofield Study Bible, Habarim. Yes, I am Machabertenyoch. Let's go right here to Psalm 9, and the footer here, we have a little footer here. It says Mut, or Muth, as they have it pointed, Muth Labain, death of the sun. So Hebraically, we can interpret as death of the sun or death to the sun, is not a musical instrument, but the title of the song. And they say that it's possibly connected with 2 Samuel. Here we have 2 Samuel chapter 12 and 20. 2 Samuel, so take note. 2 Samuel chapter 12 and 20 in the First Schofield Study Bible notes. So just to point that out right there, it's in the footer right there for the disciples of the King of Kings Christ. So here, Mutalabein, death to the sun. There's an old Judaic commentators that explain that David, some say, composed this paean, this kind of like a Hebrew psalm composition on the death of a neighboring ruler named Labain, who, according to some commentators and commentaries, had downpressed Yisrael. But there's no record of him in the Bible, in Torah, right, history. So by analogy, it is most likely a direction to the leader of the orchestra, the musical director, the musical leader, the chief musician, indicating the name of a song whose melody was to accompany the psalm, the mizmor. It's almost like in a session or a chant hall, or they say dance hall, roots and righteous, where you say to the selector, upon such and such a rhythm, upon this rhythm, to the chief musician upon such and such, or to the, the band, to play a certain rhythm, for a certain tune or a certain type of composition. So just pointing that there, but it's very interesting. Some even look a little bit deeper into, the crypticness of the superscription. Bamarinya, we have today's daily psalm, Mezmor Zekeng, themed as the kufu lai furd, the kufu upon the evil, upon the ratchet, the kufu lai upon them, furd, the furd, the judgment, a judgment. Lemezamran aleka, to the chief musician, to the aleka, the chief of the mezamran, be mutaladein. So we have this also here pointed, showing us the Hebrew pointing here in the royal heart. Be mutaladein, ye Dawit mezmor. Now today's daily psalm, a couple of just highlights. We've gone into a little bit more of a Hebraic, getting into the roots, and hopefully that'll become available for those who seek to study that objective reality and the truth. But looking at a couple of overviews of today's daily psalm, all right, just because of some time, iterations here. We have verses 1 to 2. Verses 1 to 2 begins off with the praise to Jah after the victory. And so in verses 2 and 3. Right, verses 2 and 3 in the Hebrew corresponds to the KJV, verses 1 to 2. Verses 1 to 2, where it reads right here, I will praise thee, O Lord, with my whole heart. I will shew forth all thy marvelous works. I will be glad and rejoice in thee. I will sing praise to thy name, O thou most high. Bamarinya, we have Woodman says Kedusa Hadu Amlak, in the name of Father, Son, Holy Spirit, we begin. Lemezamran aleka, the mutaladein, Yedawita mezmor, Kuteran, Abetu, the Libe Hulu, Amesaginhalo, Tamratihinim, Hulu, Negralo, Dante Desilenya, Lahasetinim, Adargalo, Lulhoi, Lesemihizamralo. Very, very interesting what we have right here in the opening 2 verses, the praise, the eyes, as with my whole heart I bid to my father's father, O father of the house, I bid to Yod Hey Weh he who be, be, libe hulu, libe, my heart, be, in, libe, in my heart, be, libe hulu, with all my heart, or in my heart all, in all of my heart, amesaginhalo, I will praise thee, I mel ta'amratihinim hulu, and your amazing, wondrous, marvelous, ta'amratihinim hulu negralo, I will tell, the ante, in the eye, speaking to he who be, I there too, the ante, des, Ilenia, des, happiness, des, joy, glad, des, Ilenia, to say to me. So the sense of happiness is also that what words, sound, power. As we say that happiness, gladness is not a feeling in that sense. It's a perception, a state of mind, but it has to do with saying happiness in the eye, right? In the eye, like happiness is said to eye. Happiness is said, joy is said to I. Hasetanim, 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 adargalo. And I will exalt, I will rejoice. Type of rejoicing, the haset, right? Hasetanim, and rejoicing I do. I does. Le'ul hoi, le'ul, the Most High, often translated as, but also it's one of the orders within John's system of government. We could say like the monarchy in that sense of the le'ul also corresponds to the prince. Oh, prince, le'ul, the one who is on high in that sense. Le'ul hoi, le'simeh, the I, male name, le'simeh. Is Zamralo. Lesemih is Zamralo. I will chant Isis. Zammara to intonate, to chant, chanting Isis to the I's male name. Lesemih is Zamralo. So here we have the opening 2 verses. Then we have verses 3 to 4. Exyari here, sustaining the good, the generous, open-handed, Father, Yod Hey, Weh Hey, Yahweh, He who be, His divine majesty. The vindicator. So here in these 2 verses we have, for thou hast maintained my right and my cause. Thou, the I, sattest in the throne judging right. Thou hast rebuked the heathen. Thou hast destroyed the wicked. Thou hast put out their name forever and ever, for ever and ever. O thou enemy, destructions are come to a perpetual end. Thou hast destroyed cities. Their memorial is perished with them. So here we have Jah, the vindicator, picking up from verses. We have verses right here. We have verses. Well, I read 3 verses, but these 2 verses here, Jah, the vindicator, verses 3 and 4. Talatoche wodahwala betamelesu gizeh yisenakalalu kafitehima yitafalu furdena bekalena dargahilinyalina sidikene yafaredih bezufanih la yatekemet. So here we have these 2 verses right here. When mine enemies are turned back, they stumble and perish at thy presence, at thy face. Elatoche, my haters, wadahwala, wada towards hwala, toward the back, wadahwala, backward. Betamelesugize, when they are turned backward, yisenakalalu, they stumble. They'll be offended in one sense, in a New Testament sense, they'll be offended, but also they'll stumble. Yisenakalalu, kafitehim. And from your male face perception, yitafalu, they will be lost from your perception. They do not have that divine state of mind. Kafitehim yitafalu, or in the temporal, we could say, in the manifest sense, they'll be destroyed at your presence, at your face, but they are lost from his face, from his perception, from his perspective. Kut al-Arat, verse 4. Furdena bekalena dargahilinyalina sidikin iyafredih bezufanih la yatekemet. Furde, my judgment. Furdena and bekalein, and bekale. My judgment is interesting. Bekale is like almost avenging, getting a vengeance, you know, in that sense. Adargah, the I doing, linya, the I has done, the I does, what the I does for I. My judgment and bekele, and my vengeance. The I does it for I. Sidkin, Siddiq, righteousness, Sidkin yeferedih. The I, the one judging Siddiq, because the I is Melchizedek, Siddiq, or Melchizedek, from Siddiq, Siddiq, righteousness. Sidkin yeferedih, the I judging bezufanih lie, upon the I's male throne, bezufanih lie, tek emetih, the I seatus, the I is enthroned on the I's throne. So here in verses, here we have verses 5 to 6. Verses 5 to 6, the complete destruction of his enemies, of I and I enemies, of I and I haters. Verses 5 to 6. All right, we have verses 5 to 6. Thou rebukest the heathen, thou destroy the wicked, thou hast put out their name for ever. O thou enemy, destructions are come to a perpetual end, and thou hast destroyed cities. Their memorial is perished with them. Their memorial is perished. So the complete destruction of the deconstruction of the enemy, verses 5 to 6. Ahizabin gases zinnuguoch nem atefa semachu nem lezlalem demeses. Telatocha betora lezlalem atefu. Katemochachu nem farese. Zikracha wima beandeneta tefa. So what we have here is the nations, Ahizab, the peoples, the Goyim in the Hebrew, but the Ahizavina Gasetze, the I rebukest them. Zinguoch nim atefa, Zinguoch. From what we study, ancient archaic terms like the hypocrites, right? You cause them to perish, make them lost. They get lost, and that's when they get lost, right? Or cause them to perish. Samachuanim and their names, and their name, in the sense of their name, like they have one name. Samachuanim and their name. The Messes. You roll out, destroy their name, blot it out. Elatoch. Enemies. Betorah lezlalem tefu. Betor, in war, forever they are destroyed. They're destroyed forever. So when you see the nations is going at war and war, that's it for them. They're destroyed forever, right? Betor lezlalem tefu. Forever, right? They are destroyed by way of war. Their haters, and you demolish their cities, break them down. Zikrachawim and their memorial, their zikrachawim, ba'andinet and oneness, tefu, right? Perish all together as one now. So looking at these verses here, bringing us right here. Let's bring it to a point right here, right? Because today's psalm right here is so very important right here. So let's ride up right here, right? We have verses 7, right, to 8. John, the judge of all, being the judge of all. He's enthroned forever, right? From this instance of retribution, the psalmist and I, we derive a lesson, Timharit, that all the peoples of the earth, the earthly plane, are under the jurisdiction of the eternal judge, even the King of Kings. They have to give account of their actions before him, and he pronounces judgment equitably. The universality of this concept of a Gaziavi to sustain the good, the generous Av should be noted. In other words, let it be noted, verses 7 to 8, Gaziavi again, Lazalem Yinorab, Zufanu Nema Lemefred Azegaja. Arsum Alamina Besidika Yiferdatal, his Venim, Slika, Ahizabinem Bekinati Yedanyachua. Verses 7 and 8, verses 7 and 8. See verses 7 and 8. Go look at the numbering over here. Yeah, verses 7 and 8. In these verses right here, 7 and 8, but Exia, the sustainer, shall endure for ever. He hath prepared his throne for judgment. Exia again, Zufanunim lemefred azegaja. And he shall judge the world in righteousness. He shall minister judgment to the people in uprightness. Arsum alamina betsidik yiferdatal ahzabinim bekinati danyachua. Now here we have verses 9, right? Just taking these two verses, each of these two verses has a particular theme. 9 and 10. Where verses 9 and 10, Exia, the sustainer, Yod Hey, where Hey, he will be, who he be, also will be a refuge for the, it says oppress, rephrase, downpress, a refuge in times of trouble. Verse 10, and they that know thy name will put their trust in thee, for thou, Yahweh, Jehovah, Lord, hast not forsaken them that seek thee, Bamarinyan, the Metaf Kedus, Exavi Harima, Ledehocha, Metegia, Honacho, Arsum, Bemekaracho, Gizeh, Radatacho, no. Simehina Yamiyauku Huluba Ante Itamenalo Abetu Yamiya Shuhina Ate Wachumna. These two beautiful verses right here. Let's keep it moving. This section is Exia, the sustainer, is the protector, the itactor, the protector. Exia, the sustainer, the good, the generous Ab, also will be a high tower for the oppressed, for the downpressed. Exia Harim, let dehoch for the pole. Metegia, refuge, Honacho, he become for them, he be Who be, he be for them. A high tower in times of trouble, in troublous time, Arsum, and he himself and none other. Arsu, he himself, Arsum, and he, the Mekaracho Gize. In their times of Mekara, all right, their times of trouble, the Mekaracho Gize, Redatacho, no, he is their helper, he is their assistant. And they that know thy name will put their trust in the eye, in thee, in thee, in thee, in thee, in the eye. Those that know thy name, Simehin, Simith, the I male name, Simehin, Yamiyauku Hulu, the Ante Yitamenalu, Simehin, the I's name, Yamiyauku, those who know Hulu, all those who know the I's name, Simehin, Yamiyauku Hulu, the Ante in the eye, speaking to he who be directly, the Ante in the I male Yitamenalu, they will be Rastaman, Tamenalu, Yitamenalu, they will trust. Put their trust, their credo, their credence, their credit, their yea and the amen, to I Father, O Father, the house, Yemishuhin, Ate Tawachawimina, those who seek thee, Yemishu, those who seek, Yemishu, those who seek, Yemishuhin, those who seek the I, male, Ate Tawachawimina, I will not leave, not forsake. You will not forsake, you will not leave those who trust in the I, in the I, in the I, in the I. Here, verses 11 to 12. Verses 11 to 12, Exavier the Avenger. Verses 11 to 12, sing praises to Exavier, which dwelleth in Sion, in Zion. Declare among the people his doings. When he maketh inquisition for blood, he remembereth them. He forgetteth not the cry of the humble. Bet Siona leminora le'egeziari zemru the ahzabim mekakela de rarguna negaru demachowen yemi meramer ersu asboalina ye dehoch nema chuheta ala resamina. Oh, amen, 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 amen. Picking up with verses 13 to 14, the prayer of the humble. Have mercy upon me, upon I bear to thy Father. Consider my trouble which I suffer. Of them that hate me, that hate I, thou the I, that liftest me I up from the gates of death, that I may shew forth all thy praise, thy eyes in the gates of the daughter of Zion. I will rejoice in thy salvation. Verses 13 and 14, the prayer of the humble Alberto. Is en nalina telatochem yemia metubin mekrai. Tomota de joch kefa yemita dergain. Miskanawino hulu nagerzen. Betsiona leja bede jochua bemadanihe desilenya. Desilenya. Yes, yes, yes. In the gates of the daughter, the entrance to the city where the people aggregate. So it's the best place in which to secure publicity, to publicize in the gates of the daughter of Sion, Yerushalayim, being the mother city. Jerusalem is I mother, the mother city, even the new Jerusalem in Ethiopia. Yes, RasTafari, the daughter of Zion, represents its inhabitants. He has lifted I up from the gates, the gates, the gates. He has caused I to go high, high, high from the gates of death. Yes, RasTafari. So here we get to change to praise, to Isis. So verses 15 to 16. Retribution. Retribution overtakes aggressors. Even those who are passive aggressors overtakes the aggressors. Yes, verses 15 to 16, Chabarim. The heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made, in the net which they hid. Is their own foot taken? Exeavia, the same, the good, generous, open-handed, our Father is known by the judgment which he executeth. The wicked, the ratchet, is sneered in the work of his own hands. Higayon, meditation, set, la, pause. Here we have the retribution that overtakes the aggressors. Here, verses 15 to 16. Ahzabe saruta gudgwada wardaku. በዚያችም በሸሽጓታ ወጥመድ እግራቸው ተጠመደች። እግዚአብሔር ፍርድና በማድረግ የታወቀ ነው። ኃጢአተኛው በእጆቹ ሥራ ተጠመደ። Got snared in their own traps. Their own traps and their own schemes. The nations are sunk down in the pit which they made, and the net which they hid is their own foot. Taken. They are sunk down, they fell into the pit. They fall. Xavier hath made himself known. He hath executed judgment. The wicked, the ratchet, is snared in the work of his own hands. Higayon, Selah. Pause. Higayon, a meditation. Pause. Here we have verses 17 to 18, the fate of the ratchet. The wicked, the ratchet, shall be turned into hell, and all nations that forget Exavier, the sustainer, the good, the generous, our Father. For the needy shall not always be forgotten. The expectation, the hope of the poor shall not perish forever, for ever. ኃጢአተኞች ወደ ሲኦል ይመለሳሉ። እግዚአብሔርን የሚረሱ አሕዛብም ሁሉ ድሃ ለዘላለም አይረሳምና የችግረኞችም ተስፋቸው ለዘላለም አይጠፋም። Interesting verse. The nations are turned. The wicked, right, shall return to the netherworld. The wicked shall return to the Sheol, the Duat. Even all nations that forget Elohim, the true good, the true God. For the needy shall not always be forgotten, nor the expectation of the poor perish forever. Here, to fulfill. Oh, note, when poor is mentioned in the scriptures, well, let's just move forward. We're going to touch on that. It's mentioned for sense of devoutness, reverence, even ila, awe. Not the way in the world flesh and the satanic seclorum. All right? Here we have the last two verses here. Rise, there too. Let not man prevail. Let the heathen be judged in thy sight. Put them in fear and respect, there too. Our fathers follow the house, that the nations may know themselves to be. But men, Selah, pause. Verses 19 and 20. There too. ተነስ ሰውም አይበርታ፣ አሕዛብም በፊትህ ይፈረድባቸው። አቤቱ ፍርሃቴና በላያቸው ጫንባቸው። አሕዛብ ሰዎች እንደሆኑ ይወቁ። አሕዛብ ሰዎች እንደሆኑ ይወቁ።
Teach me, teacher. Teach high and I am a teacher.
Let them message, Jaja. Let them message, Jaja.
Rastafari, King of all kings, Lord of all lords, conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah, elect of himself, mighty and thunderable, exhibit massacre, Yahweh, the goose and the gods, let Jah be praised.
Just a reminder and a note that Psalm 9 and 10, they go together. Psalm 9 is judging the ratchet, the wicked nations, and Psalm 10 is speaking about the ratchet amongst our people. Yes, Psalm 9 and 10. Here today's daily Psalm 9, judgment on the nation.
For from the rising of the sun, even unto the going down of the same, my name shall be great among the Gentiles. And in every place incense shall be offered unto my name, and a pure offering. For my name shall be great among the heathen, saith the Lord of hosts, 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 saith the Lord of hosts.
Judgment.
If tomorrow is judgment day,
original justice man, champion song.
When I'm standing on the front line, when the Lord asks me what I give it a sound,
Then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another, and the Lord hearkened and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord, and that thought upon his name. And they shall be mine, saith the Lord of hosts, in that day when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them, as a man spareth his own son that serveth him. Then shall ye return, and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serveth God, and him that serveth him not.
Facts. Yes, sir. Once again, today's Daily Psalm Hebrew highlights right here. Yes, sir. Calling, about to ride up to the grace period right here.
מזמור ט' למנצח על מות לבן מזמור לדוד 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 מזמור לדוד.
I will praise thee, O Lord, with my whole heart. I will show forth all thy marvelous works. I will be glad and rejoice in thee. I will sing praise to thy name, O thou most high. When mine enemies are turned back, they shall fall and perish at thy presence. For thou hast maintained my right and my cause. Thou sattest in the throne, judging right. Thou hast rebuked the heathen. Thou hast destroyed the wicked. Thou hast put out their name forever and ever. O thou enemy, destructions are come to a perpetual end, and thou hast destroyed cities. Their memorial is perished with them. But the Lord shall endure forever. He hath prepared his throne for judgment, and he shall judge the world in righteousness. He shall minister judgment to the people in uprightness. The Lord also will be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble. And they that know thy name will put their trust in thee, for thou, Lord, hast not forsaken them that seek thee. Sing praises to the Lord which dwelleth in Zion. Declare among the people his doings. When he maketh inquisition for blood, he remembereth them. He forgetteth not the cry of the humble. Have mercy upon me, O Lord. Consider my trouble which I suffer of them that hate me, thou that liftest me up from the gates of death, that I may show forth all thy praise in the gates of the daughter of Zion. I will rejoice in thy salvation. The heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made. In the net which they hid is their own foot taken. The Lord is known by the judgment which he executeth. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. Higai, Selah. The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forget God. For the needy shall not always be forgotten. The expectation of the poor shall not perish forever. Arise, O Lord, let not man prevail. Let the heathen be judged in thy sight. Put them in fear, O Lord, that the nations may know themselves to be but men. Selah, 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 Selah.
Keep on traveling on. Give up the fight.
Call in to hear the full now, or hopefully catch it on the replay. 515-602-9761. To hear the full now. Call in. 515-602-9761. Call in 515-602-9761. Call in 515-602-9761.
No, I'm